Here, I see students spending 6, 7, sometimes even 10 hours studying, but somehow their grades barely improve. Maybe you've had days where you study for hours, only to realize you barely made any progress. Or maybe you've reached the end of the day thinking, where did all my time go? I just wasted another day. Meanwhile, someone else studies for half the time and somehow gets almost every question right. So, what's the difference? Are they just naturally smarter? Not really. They simply study differently. Today, I'm going to show you the exact study system that completely changed the way I learn. A system that helped me study faster, remember more, and make math one of the easiest subjects to revise. Have you ever spent an entire afternoon studying only to realize the next day that you barely remember anything? I used to think the solution was simple. Study longer, work harder, and push myself more. But eventually I realized effort wasn't my problem, but my system was. Because when you keep working hard but still don't see the results, it's easy for you to start questioning yourself. You start wondering whether you're studying the wrong way, or even worrying about whether you'll ever reach the future that you're hoping for. Most students confuse studying with feeling productive. Reading notes, highlighting textbooks, watching endless YouTube videos, rewriting beautiful notes. It all feels productive, but very little of it actually works. Everything changed when I stopped asking how many hours I should study and started asking, how can I learn this in the shortest time possible? Because here's the truth. The goal isn't to spend more time studying, but the goal is to understand more in less time. Here's what many top performing Asian students do. They don't wait until they know everything before attempting questions, but they start with questions. It sounds backwards, but it's actually more efficient. The questions immediately expose your weaknesses. Instead of reading 50 pages, you're only learning the parts that you actually need. Suddenly, every minute has a purpose. But there's one problem. Once you start solving lots of questions, you quickly end up with worksheets everywhere. Printed papers, loose notes, past papers you've forgotten about. And so finding the right questions to review becomes harder than actually studying. This is when my iPad completely changed the way I study. Before, every worksheet ended up somewhere different. Some were printed, some were in files, and some just disappeared forever. Every exam season felt like studying from zero. But now, everything lives in one place. Every past paper, every difficult question, every formula, every mistake, they're all organized, they're all searchable, and they're always with me. So instead of wasting 20 minutes looking for notes, I can just start immediately. It sounds like a small difference, but over months, those saved minutes become hours. But this is probably the habit that made me improve the fastest. I call it my mistake notebook. Every time I got a question wrong, I didn't just write the correct answer, but I wrote why I got it wrong. Did I misunderstand the concept? Did I get the formula? Was I careless? Did I panic? And over time, I realized something. I wasn't making hundreds of different mistakes, but I was always repeating the same 5 mistakes. And when I fixed those, my marks just improved naturally. And here's something I wish someone had told me earlier. Productivity isn't waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's not about studying for 12 hours. It's not about doing aesthetic notes. Productivity is removing friction. It's making it easier to start easier to focus, and easier to continue tomorrow. And that's why I love using my iPad. Everything is already prepared. I don't need to find paper, carry heavy files, print worksheets, but I can just open one app and start. The easier it is to begin, the more consistently you're going to study. And maths is actually one of the best examples of this. Most students memorize methods, but maths isn't about memorizing, but it's about recognizing patterns. Every difficult question is usually about testing one small idea. And once you've recognized that pattern, you've solved hundreds of future questions before you've even seen them. And that's why I spend less time memorizing and more time understanding. People always ask me, how do you study so much? But the truth is, I don't. I just spend most of my energy on the 20% of work that creates almost all of the results. Solving questions, reviewing mistakes, active recall, understanding concepts, and everything else comes second. So if you're struggling with studying, maybe you don't need more motivation or more productivity hack. Maybe you simply need a better system. One that lets you study faster, remember more, and actually enjoy the process. And that's exactly what I'm trying to build. A system where studying feels simple and less stressful. And that brings us to the end of the video. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe and follow along my journey. And if there's one thing I hope you remember today, it's this. Don't try to become someone who studies the longest. Become someone who studies with intention. See you in the next one.